Welcome in to Winning Cures Everything. It is July 2nd of 2020, and I am Chris, and I am rolling solo. No entry music, no bells and whistles. Gary has all the fancy gadgets. I just run my yak. It'll be a quick show for you because, as you know, if you listened to us in the past, Gary brings most of the substance, and I bring a lot of the nonsense. So we got a nonsense-heavy show, but it'll be quick. I got three quick things that I found that I thought were interesting to talk about. Wanted to hit on real quick. Let's give you the rundown. Cam Newton says his deal is not about the money. The NHL Stanley Cup will finally be hoisted in Edmonton this year for the first time since 1990. And Jimbo gets caught with his hand in the cookie jar? Let's go. When reports of Cam's deal came out that only $550,000 of his deal is guaranteed, Cam was asked about it, and he said, and I quote, "This is not about the money for me." He sent this in a very cryptic text message, but don't worry, we had code breakers working all day trying to decipher it. Think we got it broken. I'll read you the quote, the tweet for verbatim. And we'll kind of see where we go with this. "It's not a lot of things money cannot buy, but amongst the top of that list of things you would find respect as one of those." Safe to say Cam was not an English major at Auburn, or our code breakers are morons. He goes on to finish the quote, and this is the meat of it right here. "This is not about the money for me. It's respect." I'm excited to see Cam play with the Patriots. I am the resident Patriot fan. I want good things for New England. It's always been tough times. Everybody picks against them. I know. It's sad. But hey, maybe this is our year, right? I kid, of course. I like a Cam Newton with a hefty amount of chips all on his shoulder. Making $550,000 guaranteed, he pretty much, I think, has to be cut before the rosters are in for that to only be the amount of money he makes. I could be wrong. I'm not super privy to all the exclusives in his deal, but I think he's going to do just fine. And I'm pretty excited to see what happens with Cam and the Patriots. Move on to the next story. The Aggies are in trouble? Maybe? This is a story that I don't know that I can wrap my head around it. It's that dumb. Okay. Jimbo Fisher and the Texas A&M Aggies are getting slapped on the wrist by the NCAA for a recruiting violation. Their violation was an assistant coach in 2018-2019 season spoke to a prospected student while in high school who had not yet finished his junior year. I'm really glad the NCAA jumped on that before somebody got hurt. Man, we got to look out for the safety of these kids, don't we? These people are the worst people on the planet. Is this a sign of Jimbo playing a little fast and loose with the rules and getting caught? Or is this just the NCAA trying to look like they've got some strength, since so many of the teams, when they've come down on them lately, have just brushed them off their shoulders and said, we're just going to wait for you to come down hard, and we're going to go on with our lives. I'm very interested to see, is this a sign of things to come in the NCAA just probing around Texas A&M? And what unfolds by it. Third story, I was going to talk about hockey. Okay. All the hockey playoffs are going to be played in Toronto and Edmonton. Toronto is going to get the semifinals, and Edmonton is going to get the Stanley Cup finals. Every game, they won't go back and forth anywhere. This means Canada is finally going to get a championship. Edmonton hasn't hoisted a championship since 1990. They got a shot. The Oilers are in the playoffs, kind of. I think it's a long shot. But I didn't really want to get too deep into hockey since 90% of y'all don't care about it anyway, and that's kind of only a me story. So we'll switch to the NFL and something that I believe I had. The NFL announced today that they are considering having fans sign waivers before entering the stadiums. I thought two things when I saw this. First, I have the ear of somebody very high up in the NFL. I believe I'm one of the only people I've heard talking about this. That why don't they just have waivers on the back of the ticket when you buy it and clear them of all negligent or any legal liability from COVID and just let fans be in stands. So that one thing your boy had. Number two is I think I might be back on taking all those over bets on attendance. If the NFL is considering rules like this, I think they are considering we're going to go forward. Yes, we're canceling some preseason things. Yes, we're moving some things around that we didn't want to move around, but the season as a whole will be played on time, on schedule, and we got butts in the seats. We got seats available, and they need behinds in them. And kind of am a little bit more optimistic than I was yesterday about the NFL and therefore sports going forward. So, quick show today. Not a lot happening. Gary will be back with me tomorrow. We're going to get things rolling. We always say this. Gary ends every show with the fact of take care of yourselves, take care of one another. I'm going to do the same. Be good to one another, guys. Thank y'all so much.